Alright, welcome back. Quick little news of the day video here to start things off. It has been an eventful past day, as it has been for pretty much this entire week now. I'm anticipating having to make another video like this later on today, just like I did yesterday, just based off of how much news that we still have yet to see coming out from specifically some bigger names like Evil Geniuses. They have some slots to fill. OG have some slots to fill. Team Liquid has some players to get rid of. Of course, Quakefa had announced yesterday that he's going to be going into a full-time streamer position until he feels comfortable coming back to the pro scene. And then we still have some other teams too, like OBNeon, who now have a slot to fill after they had announced their official roster just 2 weeks ago. So yeah, again, expect another video today, and if you don't want to miss that, please subscribe. And while we're on the topic of that, I just want to say thank you so much for 600 subscribers. Literally in my last video, I thanked you guys for 500 subscribers, and we're already past 600, and we might even hit 700 today if this pace continues, which is ridiculous. The overwhelmingly positive comments have been greatly appreciated, and I can't thank you guys enough. I'm just so happy that I found some people that would watch the content that I'm making, because this is content that I love to make. It's really fun for me even. And so again, I'm just really glad that I found some people to watch. So with that being said, I'm actually going to get into the reason why you clicked on this video, and that is the news. So starting off, iceiceice and Sumail joining Team Secret. This is huge. I think a lot of people kind of saw this coming. Of course, Team Secret had that like a little bit of a comic strip teaser bit going for a little while there on their Twitter. People were kind of debunking some of the Easter eggs that were going on in there. And people had kind of already figured out that it was going to be iceiceice and Sumail very likely to join. Of course, when it's the pro scene, when it's Team Secret, there's a very small chance that something like that can be a big troll, or I shouldn't say even a small chance. It was a very big chance. So I wasn't going to jump ahead of anything and market that it was official until it was actually announced earlier today. So yeah. Team Secret, after losing Zai and Matumamen, who I don't even think were underperforming by any means. I think those were some incredibly good players and some incredibly good performances by them throughout this whole year, throughout basically since the start of the pandemic when they picked up Matumamen. And it looked like it was going to be some really big shoes to fill for Team Secret, and iceiceice and Sumail, I think, will do that very well. I've mentioned before, I think iceiceice was probably EG's most valuable player this past year. Sumail is Sumail. You know, of course, he's been playing carry for a little while, but when he was filling in for Team Liquid earlier this year, he looked like he was still in his king form. He was absolutely, in my opinion, their best player throughout that whole thing. So it was kind of a shame to see that they didn't end up keeping him on Team Liquid. But regardless, Sumail finds himself back on another team, and this is once again a star-studded roster on Team Secret. We've seen it blown up in their face before. We'll have to see how it goes here. But I gotta say, this is a scary-looking roster after already having one and having lost a few members earlier. Yeah, this is not a team I'd want to face. Next up, staying in Western Europe, as we will for most of this video, pretty much everything in this video is going to be Western Europe related. Seb is retiring from professional Dota. So that is now 3 of the 5 repeat champions from OG from TI8 and TI9's run that have now officially retired from Dota. That of course doesn't mean that they won't be returning. For Jirax and Seb, to me, it seems a lot more final than Ana. I think Ana is probably the most likely to make a return to Dota. However, his last statement, of course, was of retirement and not of a break. So it could be that Ana's done for good as well. But yeah, Seb's gone into retirement. OG now has 3 slots to fill. Their team is going through quite the shakeup. The only 2 remaining are now No-Tail, who I could also see going into retirement possibly, although I could also see No-Tail heading a brand new roster into this new DPC year. And we also have Thompson, who we've talked about numerous times and has also talked about it himself about maybe taking a break after TI10. Of course, he is a father now. He has a daughter to take care of, so it would be nice for him probably to take some time off. But as of right now, we don't have any more news coming up from OG other than Seb is retiring. We don't know when we're going to get any roster news for them, but I'd imagine it's going to have to be soon because, of course, they've alluded to the fact that they're going to be participating in this upcoming year, and the roster lock date is only 3 days away. So they've got to pick up at least 2 more players in the next 3 days. So I guess we'll have to see who that is. But all in all, best of luck to Seb in his retirement. I hope we see more of him, at least maybe from the talent side. I know when he was participating as a talent at TI10, it was actually really insightful hearing him talk on the draft panel. I'd really love to see more from him, as he is probably one of the greater minds in all of Dota, at least as of late. So yeah, best of luck to him. And moving on now. Staying in the Western European region, as I mentioned before, Hellbear Smashers, who were in the upper division last season, lower division season 1, and had actually finished top 2, and then they played in the upper division and had a terrible season. I don't think they won a single series, and they've come out on their Twitter and mentioned that their roster is completely empty. All of their members have received tier 1 Dota offers, so they've all left, and Hellbear Smashers is actually going to be giving, because they still own a lower division DPC slot, they're going to be giving that slot to Into the Breach, who yesterday just picked up the stack of Team Agent, a stack that was just formed previously with Shad, for example, who is leading that as their position 1. So I talked about yesterday how Into the Breach played in Season 2, but I wasn't sure whether or not Into the Breach was the owner of the DPC slot as an organization, or if it was the stack, which was Team Creepwave previously, headed by Fishman as their position 5, if it was him owning the slot. It seems like it was actually Fishman who owns the slot, so Team Creepwave is going to be already in the DPC, and now Into the Breach is going to be as well, thanks to Hellbear Smashers. So super nice gesture from Hellbear Smashers, knowing that they probably won't be able to get a roster together in the next few days, and so they give their slot over to Into the Breach. So super nice, guys, super nice gesture from them. And best of luck to Hellbear Smashers, that maybe we can see more of them soon. Of course, they did have a really good season 1. They just weren't quite cut for the intensity of Western Europe's upper division when they made it there in season 2. So yeah, best of luck to all their players and everyone on Into the Breach. And yeah, hopefully we can see more of them soon. Now moving away from Western Europe to Southeast Asia, OBNeon, who actually announced their roster just over 2 weeks ago that they had finalized, they have moved UK to their inactive roster. They now have 2 position 5s on their inactive roster right now, and that's Honeywell and UK, and now they have another slot to fill. So it's possible that they're looking to bring in a new player. I'd imagine that's why. Otherwise, they would have probably just brought Honeywell back to the active roster. But for now, we'll see. They, again, have quite a while to figure out who they want to bring in, because teams need to have at least 4 members by the 21st of November, but the teams don't actually need to be fully finalized until the 28th. So they're probably just playing the field a little bit, seeing who else they might be able to bring in. So yeah, and last little bit of news, and this just happened on Alliance's Twitter. They had, of course, a few days ago announced that on November 18th, which is today, they were going to be announcing their new roster. And we now have it. So, of course, the only 2 remaining members from the previous roster were Nico Baby and Hanskin. And, of course, their previous roster consisted of Limp, S4, and FNG as well. Only FNG so far being on a new team. And that is the CIS Rejects. So he is actually moving to the CIS region, aka Eastern Europe. So, taking a look at their new roster, we actually have Hanskin playing position 5 now. He was previously a position 4, so it's not the biggest shakeup ever, but there is a position change. Nico Baby still playing carry. They have brought in Supreme previously on Chicken Fighters, who had a pretty decent season in the lower division of the Western European region last season. Leslau from Quincy Crew, who about a month ago put out a statement saying he wasn't sure about if he was going to be continuing his career or if he was going to be taking a break for a little while. Well, it looked like after getting a pretty solid offer from Alliance, he has officially decided that he's going to be sticking with Dota. He, of course, moving from NA now, previously from SA all the way to NA, now to Western Europe. He was, in my opinion, he had a pretty good tournament. I know in the best of ones of TI10, Leslau pretty much won that game entirely on his own. So he's a pretty valuable asset, and best of luck to him. Obviously, he was pretty doubtful of whether or not he wanted to continue his career, and now he is, so hopefully that goes well. And then Armis coming in from Viking GG. So now Viking GG, a roster that did very well for themselves in the lower division, were actually bound for the upper division. After not qualifying for TI10, they dissolve. Now every single one of those members from that previous Viking GG roster has found themselves on a new team. And I'll get into that. That's why I have it marked over there on the far right. And finally, yes, Hanskin still playing there. So yeah, Alliance's new roster looks pretty good. I don't necessarily know if this is an improvement or maybe just a side grade compared to their old roster. I think their old roster really underperformed considering the just sheer star power that was on that roster. I think S4 had a pretty okay year. I think Limp really underperformed. Same thing for FNG. And so yeah, we'll have to see how this new roster goes. And like I mentioned earlier, just to take a look at Viking GG's old roster because they were a team that did so well, I thought it'd be fun to look at where every single member on that roster ended up after this post-TI roster shuffle period. So taking a look at Shad, he is now, of course, he was on Team Agent, who have now been acquired by Into the Breach. He will be partaking in the lower division. We have Boom, who has found himself on the Immortal Faith stack. Of course, that is with Celery as well, who I'm assuming is the owner of that DPC slot from the formerly known Viking GG, which leads me to believe that this Immortal Faith stack, even though they're not named yet or have not been taken by an organization, they will be taking part in the upper division of the Western European region this year. We have Kezu, who of course has joined Quincy Crew, and we have Aramis, who has just now joined Alliance. So yeah, this very, very solid stack here has completely liquidated and completely been absorbed by some of the biggest name teams in the region. Of course, or not even of just the region, Kezu being all the way back in NA now. Of course, he coached that team throughout TI10. Now he's actually going to be part of the roster. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, expect another video later today. I'm anticipating having to cover maybe an announcement from Evil Geniuses, maybe another one from OG. Team Liquid still has too many players. I wouldn't be surprised to see some news coming out from them today. So if you don't want to miss that, feel free to subscribe. Again, thank you guys so much for 600 subscribers. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later today, hopefully, with another video. Bye.